All right, the latest news break coming in. The condolence meeting for Sridevi is slated to be held tomorrow at the Celebrations Club at Lokhandwala in Andheri West. This would happen from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The funeral, last rites, will be held at Ville Parle Seva Samaj Crematorium. This is next to the Pawan Hunt Centre from 3:30 to 5 p.m. What we are getting to know that the plane in Dubai, the chartered plane in Dubai carrying the mortal remains of the iconic actor has started to taxi, will take off any time. After that, it's about a 2-hour flight, 2.5-hour flight, and the final remains of the iconic actor would be in India. I would want to connect to my colleague Pia Hingonani, getting us the latest on this. Pia, tomorrow, the final respects would be paid between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m. Is this open to the public? Would you give us details?
Well, absolutely. The family has issued a statement saying that, the condolence and paying tributes will happen between 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. At Celebration Sports Club, where they've already started the preparations in full swing. The security has been beefed up. The barricades have been put, flowers have been brought in. They've made place for even fans to go in, in lines to actually go and pay their last respect to the actress. So we can see everything is happening in a very systematic and a very organized fashion by the Mumbai police as well. And of course, the security has also been beefed up at Sridevi's residence, that is Green Acres at Lokhandwala in Andheri, Mumbai. So, there are a lot of flowers that have been going in and a lot of things that are required for the ceremonies. We saw even at Anil Kapoor's residence, and we saw a lot of, the Panditji also going in, and, everything, all the preparations are on for tomorrow. So do expect to see a lot of fans, because since the time this news broke, we've been seeing throngs of fans coming together and, saying that they've come from across India just to get that last glimpse of their favorite actress, even from South India, from across the country. So tomorrow, do expect to see people in large numbers just coming to pay tribute to the actress.
All right, Pia, thank you for that quick update. So it is open to public. If you're a fan of Sridevi, you're in Mumbai, you want to go pay your final respects to the iconic actor, you can do so between 9:30 to 12:30 tomorrow. We're going to be giving out the details as well. But let me take our viewers through what transpired through the day. Now, 3 days after her death at a Dubai hotel, Sridevi's mortal remains will finally return to India tonight. As we speak, the chartered plane carrying her body is taxiing. It will take off from Dubai, will touch down in Mumbai at about 10:30 India time. Sridevi's body has been taken to the Dubai airport cargo area. From there, like I pointed out, it will fly back to India. From there, Sridevi's body will first be taken to her home, Green Acres in Lokhandwala. Tomorrow, it will be kept for public viewing from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. In fact, it would be kept for anyone, of course, members of the film fraternity, family, friends, and fans to come and pay their final respects. The funeral will take place at Ville Parle Crematorium. This will happen between 3:30 to 5 p.m. We'll get the final contours of that, the time frame of that would in fact fall in place tomorrow. Now this, after the Dubai prosecution ordered the release of Sridevi's body, the Dubai police handed over clearance letters to the Kapoor family. Meanwhile, the Dubai Public Prosecutor Office has released a statement denying any foul play in the actor's death, and the case is now closed. The prosecutor's office said that Sridevi's medical reports show her cause of death as drowning after losing consciousness. Over the next 1 hour, we're going to get you the very latest coming in from Dubai, from Mumbai. We'll also be cutting across to members from the film fraternity who remember the iconic actor and the body of work that she left behind. Sridevi is gone, but the legacy would endure. I have with me Nagma. She's an actor. She joins me from Mumbai. We have Komal Nahta. He is a film trade analyst. He's joining me from Mumbai. Kavita Krishnamurthy, She's a singer, if our viewers recall, Hava Havai, Sridevi's voice in Chalbaz. It's Kavita Krishnamurthy who sang for her. But before I go to our guest, I want to immediately cut across to my colleague Padmaja Joshi, who's joining me from Mumbai at this point of time. In a short while, we'll also get Gaurav Sawant from Dubai. Padmaja, finally, you know, with all that has gone down over the last over 48 hours, Sridevi's body to return back to India. Pia was giving us the basic contours of what to expect tomorrow, what now. We'll ask, we're going to be playing out those details as well. But what are you picking up? What kind of preparations are in place? Because we do know that those 3 hours in the morning, 9:30 to 12:30, would be open to the public and fans as well.
Everyone at all, and I can tell you, having been here for the last 3 days, there's this kind of adulation that she enjoyed not just here in Mumbai, but because of the kind of roles that she has played across different languages. Preeti, there were people who came here from Karnataka. There was this huge family from Gulbarg who was here yesterday. There were people from Chennai who had come. There was this one lady who had dressed up all in white. We don't know how much they do this for the camera or how much it actually means to them, but the fact is they had made that journey. This one lady dressed up and said that I am Chandni. For all of these people, all of them who actually come here, hover on the sidelines, asking for details, saying, wo wapas aa gayi kya? For them, there is going to be this darshan, which is going to go on for 3 hours between 9:30 and 12:30. Subsequently, there is going to be the final journey, which begins at 2 and 3:30 is the appointed time. The preparations, without going into too much detail, things have been kept very simple. One friend who spoke to my colleagues in here in the Mumbai bureau said that she really loved white and she wanted her final journey to be all in white. So maybe something along those lines as well. What we also know is that you have Sridevi's sister, Sri Lata. She is currently in Dubai. She is friends with Gauri Khan and Gauri Shinde, who is the director of English. She is going to be accompanying the mortal remains of Sridevi back to India, and we are being told that a small group of her family members and very close friends of Boni Kapoor are going to be there to receive her at the airport.
You know, Padmaja, stay on with me. I'll just cut across right now to our guests. And Nagma, you know, anyone, I can talk about myself. For a child who grew up in the 90s and the late 80s, Sridevi was iconic, especially, I'm sure, for members of the film fraternity, for possibly actors, actresses like you. What do you remember of her?
Well, I can say I was very fortunate because my father produced a movie in 1987. It was called Aulad, and she was one of the leading ladies in the film, along with Jayaprada, and Jitinder was the main lead. And ever since then, I mean, for many years, I mean, I was very, very close to her, and she really, was. I was very good friends with her sister, and we were very close, and we spent a couple of outdoors together. I used to stay with her as well, and so I knew her really up close, and she was a wonderful person. I can never forget the kind of love and appreciation that she showered on me. And apart from that, she was a very different person. She was in front of the camera and behind the camera, but yet, you know, she was a very
Nagma, we're going to try and fix your audio line. Nagma, I'm sorry, I'm just coming in. We're going to try and fix that audio line because we do want to hear that story from you. We're just going to ask our technical staff to do that. Till that time, let me cut across to Komal Nahta. Komal, why is this? That Sridevi is actually called the first Indian female superstar. Was it top billing even higher than some of her male actors? Or was it just the body of work, the persona, was it all combined together?
I think, without sounding rude, I think there were earlier superstars, female superstars like Hema Malini, etc. This is not to take away from Sridevi's body of work, but I think it would be doing injustice to actresses like Hema Malini, because I remember when I entered the industry, Hema Malini was also called a female superstar. So I think we are erring in that a little bit. But yes, she was one superstar, one female superstar amongst the few superstars we've had. And that is because of her body of work, because she selected the right kind of subject, she selected the right kind of films, and one hit after the other. So she kept on giving hits, delivering hits, and most importantly, in all those hits, she was not just a decorative piece. You know, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, we had a lot of films in which the heroines didn't have much of a role. But Sridevi chose films where she had substantive roles alongside the hero, which is why they called her a female superstar.
All right, Komal, that's what we were talking about. Because you've been in the industry for so long, you've seen so many decades of actresses. What has been your memory? Do you have an instance that you want to talk about of when Sridevi was this all-consuming superstar at the height of her career?
Is this question for me?
Yes, Komal.
Okay, yeah. I remember the first time I met her, the first time I ever met her. I had entered the film industry. We run a trade magazine by the name of Film Information. It was started by my father, who is no more. So I had gone to interview Sridevi ji, and I finished the interview. She was a big star by then. And then she asked me, where can I read this interview when it is printed? Because ours is a trade magazine and we don't sell it on the newsstand. So you couldn't buy it off the shelf like a Stardust or a Star and Style then. So I said, once it comes in print, I'll send copies to you. And then very innocently I asked, because I was new in the industry. So I asked her, I said, can I have your address? And so sweetly she said, you can just write Sridevi Madras, it'll reach me. So I started laughing. I laughed out so loud. I said, I'm so foolish to have asked you this question. And she said, no, it's perfectly okay. But I think Sridevi Madras should suffice. And I felt so foolish. I came and told my father, who was the editor, and I said, what a faux pas I committed. So he also had a good laugh. What I mean to say is, she never made anybody feel small, or it was a blunder, a very silly question on my part. But because I was new, probably she realized that this boy is new. I was very young then. So she put me at ease and she said, no, it's perfectly okay. But I think if you write Madras, Sridevi Madras, that should suffice. So she was a very, very sweet lady, very, very fine person. And she used to speak very little, very less. She used to come alive in front of the camera. But otherwise, she was a lady of few words.
All right. Komal, I want to ask the same question if we do have Nagma back. Nagma, like Komal was recounting of an instance of his own, of Sridevi. I'm sure you have many of your own because your father produced a film with her.
Yes, I mean, she was a lady of few words to people that she didn't know much, but she was very childlike, she was very playful, very mischievous, and her sister was a very good friend of mine, and we went to several outdoors and I stayed with her, I lived with her. This was, for very many number of years. I mean, we were very, very up close, but then later on I started working in movies, and then so then I went down south, and she was working most of the time here. In fact, one of the movies that I did down south, she did a remake of that, which was Ladla. And I had played the original version, but she was always so humble, she was always so nice, and I could never believe that there was a time when Nagarjuna was shooting with her for Ram Gopal Verma's film for Govinda Govinda, and next to that set I was shooting also. And then my first movie I worked with Salman, and then later Salman worked with her in Chand Ka Tukda. So I couldn't believe, that I never knew that I was going to become an actress, and I couldn't believe that this elder sister that I knew, who was to me, who was so close to me and so much of affection, the lady who showered, one time I would be working at the same time alongside, and it was, wherever she met me thereafter, and whenever I did meet her, of course I didn't meet her much once she got married, because then I was more down south. But it was a wonderful experience to know her, and I could never forget even that time. I mean, apart from being an actor par excellence, she's always put in more and more in every role that she's played, but she is a wonderful human being as well, and very warm human being. And more so, I think that, she has left an impact on each person that she's closely known. Very close to her family, and I think Boniji has complimented her very well. He exactly knew she would, either communicate much through her mother, or then I think after that it was Boniji who she always chose to communicate through for, whatever she wanted.
Nagma, with what you said, that she's left a deep impression on the people. on the people that, that she knew in the industry, but I guess she's left a deep impression on possibly every Indian interested in cinema, in Indian cinema especially. At this point of time, we just want to get back to the story and what has happened over the last 3 days. Rather unfortunate, the kind of conspiracy theories that were abound, rather unfortunate, the kind of the rumor mongering that was about. We just want to put out certain facts away from fiction. What was the cause of death? Well, it was an accidental death, and then it was confirmed that we are putting right out there. It was confirmed that yes, it's a fact, it was an accidental death. The second is, of course, the claims that Sridevi was murdered. There's absolutely no proof that Sridevi was murdered. This claim in particular was made by BJP MP Subramaniam Swamy, where he said that he believes that she was murdered. Well, she was not murdered. That is what the investigating officers in Dubai have clearly stated and claimed. On the other side, that there was alcohol found in her blood. Well, that was only reported by Khalij Times, a national daily of UAE. Till now, there has been no official statement. The death certificate doesn't say so, that there was any alcohol in Sridevi's bloodstream. The other theory that went about was Sridevi fell into the tub because she was intoxicated. Well, there is no confirmation of that just yet. Of course, we will have to wait for a final viscera sample, the forensic report, but till now, no official confirmation whether she actually was intoxicated at that point of time. Then the other theory is that her husband, Boney Kapoor, was under probe. He was being investigated. As per protocol, Boney Kapoor was the last person to actually witness Sridevi alive. So as per investigation, which follows the standard operating procedure, Boney Kapoor had to give a statement, and that is exactly what he did, gave a detailed statement. I want to connect to Padmaja before we go back to our guest who's joining me from Mumbai. Padmaja, we've seen, and you've been reporting on it over the last 3 days, the kind of conspiracy theories that have made the rounds, the innuendos that are abound, all of that possibly now need to be laid to rest because the case is shut. We just did so ourselves, putting the fact away from fiction.
And it has only come from certain sections. It was quite clear yesterday also when we were reporting what the source of every piece of information was. And it's very important to point out, for example, that the entire theory about cardiac arrest was also floated by people who attributed it to sources, but the official confirmation of the cause of death as accidental drowning was something that was declared officially. Even now, it's only one media report in Dubai which has spoken about the traces of alcohol. Remember, Preeti, the death certificate doesn't mention anything about that. The forensic report, we still don't have it yet. So that alcohol theory also still remains a little dicey. All of that being said, we've always managed to separate the fact from fiction, especially keeping in mind how important it is for a family here which is anyway dealing with so much. The last thing they need is speculation, rumor, hearsay and innuendo. But thankfully, the investigation is closed, which means that any conspiracy theory is also laid to rest. There was also one report doing the rounds in the afternoon that a second post-mortem could be asked for by the prosecutor's office. That also did not happen, only cementing the belief that nothing suspicious or untoward was eventually found by the prosecutor's office after all their detailed investigations, which, mind you, have gone on for 3 days. Preeti.
All right, thanks Padmaja for joining us. We're going to keep putting out the facts there, but now the case stands closed where the Dubai investigating agencies are concerned, and possibly now the focus should shift to give this Indian icon, this legend in Indian cinema, a befitting farewell. Too soon, yet we need to do that. A quick break to stay with us. We're going to come back with our guests.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.